Yo, what is up, my fellow virgins? Your boy Able like 6 sauce can never take a loss. Today, we about to react to TJ Love fights. We about to see how Dricus Du Plessis ungoofied his style. I'm gonna be honest with y'all motherfuckers, bro. Dricus is gonna take that motherfucking L this Sunday. Hopefully this Sunday. But let's get into this motherfucking video and see what TJ talking about his ungoofy style. But I actually do know what he's talking about. He definitely did ungoofy the style. Even though I don't like certain fighters, I still watch tape on certain fighters. I still educate myself on certain fighters. So, ever since he got his nose fixed, his stamina been looking, he haven't been looking like Patty, you know what I'm saying? All gassed the fuck out and shit like that. But let's get right into the bitch. God darn slaying.
Dricus Du Plessis ungoofied his style. The ungoofication of Dricus Du Plessis and his style is a transformation I haven't seen well documented. It still amazes me that someone who at one point looked constantly gassed in all his fights, looked sloppy in his technique, and never looked like he could beat the people he beat has become UFC champion, is going to defend against one of the greatest middleweights to ever do it, and to many people will give Adesanya a challenge as
I'll show you where you're from. If nobody know what that means, when he do that, that means fuck you.
Shown through the odds. DDP with wins over former champions Robert Whittaker and Sean Strickland also makes his resume insanely elite for the middleweight division, and I still can't believe a guy that looked like this or looked like that was routinely called the goofiest and sloppiest fighter on the roster.
Facts.
Is now a real threat for one of the greatest middleweights of all time.
He's not a fucking threat. He's going to die, bro.
So in today's video, let's discover how Dricus Du Plessis ungoofied his style, completely changed his image, and gained the respect of UFC fans alike. See,
Always flaws, Mike.
once UFC fans give you a title or an image, it's extremely hard to shake off.
That's Bilal Muhammad with a tortilla.
One such image that can't seem to be shaken off is the boring label given to one Bilal Muhammad, who shocked the world recently in an actually very exciting fight in my opinion. But for the longest time, many people couldn't remember the name. The boring label casual fans have given Islam Makhachev is extremely undeserving, and still doesn't make sense to me when the guy has finished 7 of his last 8 fights and mixes the martial arts better than anyone right now.
Still fucking boring. Like, I don't give a fuck.
And for a very long time, Dricus Du Plessis was seen as the goofiest fighter on the roster, and
I ain't never prayed Dricus no mind, I'm gonna be honest.
someone who would never reach the pinnacle of the sport, and for good reason. Dricus made quick work of his first 2 opponents, first knocking out Marcus Perez with a giant left hook on the temple, and then followed this up with knocking out Trevin Giles in his second fight with another equally giant right hand. But where we would really see Dricus's goofy style and decision making was his fight with his first ranked opponent, Brad Tavares. He practically opened this fight up by literally walking forward and throwing straight punches like a zombie, which ultimately led him to being caught early with a Tavares right and forced him to clinch. And in
Yo, I'm not even gonna lie. If Tavares hit him with like a smooth elbow, he would have cut him right under the eye perfectly.
led him to being caught
If he would have stepped back a little bit, like you see that foot, I'm pointing to the screen like y'all can see, but if he would have stepped back his foot a little
early
bit,
with
it's like just a little teensy bit, instead of that being like this, he would have hit this elbow. Boom! Clean. It was either he was gonna fall or stumble.
a Tavares right and forced him to clinch. And in a wild, unprecedented move, Dricus decides to not pull guard, but instead pull his opponent into top control, which was frankly a 4D level chess move. This fight would eventually get back to the feet, but already in the first, the guy was exhausted and again walked forward to get rocked by a Tavares right hand. But despite this horrendous first round, Dricus would go apeshit and continuously rock Tavares with heavy hands, ultimately pulling away in the last 2 rounds, winning this through unanimous decision. Someone said online Dricus fights like a gorilla on skates, and after reading that, you literally cannot unsee it. And we could possibly see the gorilla back on skates this Saturday for UFC 305. UFC 305 is this weekend.
Nope. Not today, buddy. No, not today. Not today.
Where Dricus really got his name out there was when he fought Darren Till, who was continuing to fall.
Yeah, this fight kind of made me mad. Like, even though Darren Till is a great fucking fighter, his last great fight was with Robert Whittaker, and then everything else was just, But shit crazy.
And was at the tail end of his career. You could immediately tell that this was the tail end of his career as he got taken down by Dricus.
like 80 times.
Dricus Du Plessis in the opening seconds of this fight and literally did not land anything while Dricus consistently landed uncontested bombs. But for a brief moment, Dricus's legs would lose control of Darren Till's body and allow Darren to get up and this time be the one landing strikes from the top. Though this was short-lived as Dricus brought this fight back down to the ground on his terms in the last seconds of this first. But all that destruction from Dricus in the first almost completely cast him for the second as he was breathing mouth wide open and slowed the pace down tremendously and could not beat the gorilla on skates allegations. This allowed Darren Till, the actual gorilla, to take full advantage and land clean elbows and strikes all throughout the second. But credit to Dricus, he may have not had good cardio here, but he did have tremendous heart as he still found the will to take down Till a couple times. And of course, speaking of labored takedowns, Dricus Du Plessis would get a big one in the third, take Till's back, and crank the shit out of his face until he tapped. Then we would get another classic goofy performance by Dricus Du Plessis when he took, at the time, the ranked number 5 contender, Derek Brunson. Almost immediately,
First of all, this was an easy fight for Dricus, if I'm being honest, because Brunson has been in the UFC for a pretty long time. He fought a lot of champions. I won't say a lot, but he fought certain former champions or actual champions, and he always lost. So, and Brunson is not a high-level fighter as he used to be. You know what I'm saying? So, this was an easy fight for him, honestly.
Dricus got his kick caught by Derek Brunson, who used it to take this fight to the ground, where admittedly he was outclassed by Brunson's grappling. First, Brunson brought this fight back down as Dricus tried to get up from his knees, and then again Brunson pulled this fight back down by pulling guard with a guillotine. Though credit to Dricus, he got out and started landing elbows in guard. But when this fight got back up to the feet, it was again Brunson outclassing Dricus, this time with the boxing as Dricus routinely got rocked, leaving his chin high up in the air, wide open, trying to get one back of his own. This round would obviously leave Dricus exhausted, a gorilla on skates in the second, but though the cardio was gone, the power never left as he caught Brunson with giant straight punches, eventually landing big with a left that brought Brunson to the cage, melting him to the floor and beating his ass on the ground until Brunson's corner was forced to throw in the towel. Despite looking terrible in these fights at times, making goofy decisions, not controlling the gas tank, the guy was winning and moving up the rankings, and whether he looked like championship material or not, by this time, his constant winning would earn him a title eliminator shot with a former champion and middleweight royalty, Robert Whittaker. And I still remember the reaction by UFC fans when this fight was announced. In one corner, you had the former champion gunning for his...
Like, let's be honest, we all thought Robert Whittaker was going to beat this nigga ass. Like, let's be honest, like, you know?
Belt back, one of the most well-rounded and skilled fighters in this division against, to be quite frank, a bumbling buffoon that always looked like he was going to gas out and lose before somehow pulling out a win. It was supposed to be easy work for Robert Whittaker, who was destined to get his belt back and fight Izzy a third time, and this was reflected in the odds leading up to this fight, who was a gigantic -375 favorite going into this fight. But there's one thing different about this Dricus Du Plessis: his nose. There's one thing I didn't mention when talking about Dricus, and that was his messed up nose. According to his coach, DDP was fighting at just 8% oxygen intake, which is so goofy in and of itself. Granted, his coach did say he was supposed to have this nose surgery 3 years prior, but since they couldn't get it, they continued to take every opportunity the UFC gave them, which is respectable, but still doesn't take away from the insanity of performing.
Do any of these fucking fighters, like, I know, like, you know, they probably assume Dana White don't give a fuck, and I know he probably don't, but do they even have the guts to ask him, like, yo, I'm breathing out of one nose, can I, you know, pay for some surgery to, you know, get this shit fixed? Like, I just realized that. I don't know.
Extremely suboptimal as a professional athlete. What's even more insane is that Dricus in his corner knows he's at an insane disadvantage cardio-wise and still chose to fight like a brawler and conserve nothing in opening rounds. To willingly gas out an already small gas tank is one of the goofiest decisions from a fighter, but I can't say anything because it worked to the point that they were fighting the former champion and
you're not a fighter, but you're correct though, TJ. I fuck with you, gang.
Legend in Robert Whittaker. So who am I to judge? Going into this fight, Dricus Du Plessis was not only different physically, but also stylistically as well. It's ironic that now Dricus had a bigger gas tank and he came into this fight much more conservatively with Robert Whittaker, really picking his shots and really choosing when to let go. This slower approach, however, led to Rob picking his shots also very well and moving in and out, and for the most part doing what we expected Rob to do, and even mixed in a takedown in this exchange. But in the final moments of this round, Dricus got a huge momentum shifting takedown and was able to cut Robert Whittaker with a nasty elbow. And in a big surprise, Dricus Du Plessis in the second round would land a crushing jab from the southpaw stance, rocking.
Perfect. I'm so glad that you was on to that. Cause look, you know what? I'm not even gonna say nothing, bro. I ain't gonna say nothing.
See, in the second
I ain't gonna be an analyst right now.
round would land a crushing jab from.
I'm gonna just say they both was in different stances, and when Whitaker goes in, or when he was gonna go in, Dricus' hand was gonna be there before you can see it right here. He was about to go in for this jab as he was doing the last time, going in and shit like that, as he caught him with that 1-2. Now Dricus, he switched his whole thing, his stance, and you see how Whitaker's stance is different. And look, right before he throw that, this is right here.
The southpaw stance.
Just like that. That's why Israel Adesanya said he had Dricus winning because of the stance and stuff, like orthodox versus southpaw, southpaw versus orthodox, and you already know the angles and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that was educational about the tapes right there.
Rocking Robert Whittaker, which led to him backing up to the cage and getting melted with punches. And this moment right here ended all the goofy allegations and ended the clowning once and for all. Dricus Du Plessis showed his skill, his patience, and his fight IQ, as it was also revealed that him and his coach game planned specifically with this approach against Robert Whittaker by being in the southpaw position, as Robert Whittaker had apparently been susceptible to the right in the southpaw stance, and it worked like a T. The once
told you
goofiest fighter who was gassed out all the time and made goofy decisions in the heat of the moment came out with an amazing win over a former champion and showed poise, great pace, and great game plan and fight IQ. And of course, this performance would lead to a title shot against Sean Strickland, who too was coming off a legendary upset. And we'd finally see Dricus Du Plessis in a 5-round fight and really, truly see his skill and cardio put to the test. And well, he would deliver. Sure, everyone talks about how close this fight was and how it could have gone either way, with some
personally on some real shit. This fight could have been a draw, but watching it live, I had Sean Strickland winning because I fuck with Strickland and I feel like he landed more strikes, honestly, because you know Dricus missed a lot of strikes just because his defense, Sean Strickland's defense. But let's see how TJ seen this fight.
Saying they robbed Sean Strickland out of a win, but whatever the case might be, Dricus Du Plessis showed that he was championship material. He absorbed a lot of jabs from Sean in the beginning, but where Dricus really found his success was in the takedowns. Look at this first one in the first round. Despite Sean getting to the fence early and getting wide, Dricus Du Plessis literally pulls Sean's ass from the fence and takes him down with pure strength. And from here, it was just takedown city, as he practically landed a takedown every round and even landed some giant right hands that cut open Sean in the third and especially hurt him in the fourth. Again, whether you had Sean or Dricus in this fight, it was amazingly close, and it showed that Dricus' strength, power, and especially cardio could hold up in a 5-round fight for all the marbles. And sure, he had some goofy moments in there, at times going back to his roots of putting his head down, flailing like a gorilla over the top to try to catch Sean, but for the most part.
And see, that's the thing. During this Izzy fight on Sunday, he's going to go back to his roots. And Izzy is going to catch him and show you who you are, my brother. I don't with Izzy like that because, you know, when people hit a certain level, when they get a lot of money, they start acting and doing weird shit. And I don't fuck with that, you know what I'm saying? That's why I fuck with McGregor, Oliveira, and Pereira. And there's a lot of other fighters I fuck with, you know what I'm saying? But Izzy is one of them fighters who I was respecting when he came up. And then once he was up, his respect level was going down. You know what I'm saying? It happens, you know, to the best of us. But he still got money. And he is still good fighter. I start stuttering because lost my train of thought. But let's get back into this bitch.
Part, he was poised, exploding well. Also, I've never seen anyone do this to Sean, and really, I don't think we've seen a middleweight get their takedown defense really tested like that. Which got me thinking, how much more does Dricus Du Plessis look for the takedown than other middleweights? And the answer is way more. Dricus Du Plessis averages 3 takedowns per 15 minutes.
I'm going to say, he has a lot of takedown the offense. Like he been taking down a lot of motherfuckers.
minutes, which is basically triple everyone else in the top 10, which is exciting for this division that has almost only seen strikers, and I think Dricus is a great addition, able to mix his power, explosiveness, and takedowns in a very fun and sometimes stupid style to watch. Everyone points to Dricus Du Plessis' nose getting fixed to his transformation from goofy to great, and yeah, that definitely helped a lot as we don't see him breathing heavy and gassing out coming out to the second round anymore, but as I went through these fights, stylistically is where he changed dramatically. He's always been an insane athlete in the division and the entire UFC period, but it seems he's honed his skills through patience, waiting for his opportunity to explode, and managing his gas tank well. Again, we don't typically see drastic stylistic change-ups. Most guys fight the way they fight until they literally cannot anymore, but sometimes the greats evolve, and Dricus Du Plessis has certainly evolved. Anyways, what do you guys think about this matchup tomorrow at UFC 305? Israel Adesanya and Dricus Du Plessis. It's a very stylistically interesting fight, and I really think it's going to be a good one. So, again,
listen, y'all. On Sunday, I'm going to have to work, and I got y'all. I'm going to try to do this reaction and shit like that, and try to have the reaction out by the same day or Monday. But I'm watching that son bitch regardless. I don't give a fuck. So, let's get this shit popping. I'm going for Izzy. Comment who y'all motherfuckers got. If y'all want any more videos or reaction videos, like, comment. If you got a video you want to send me, you got my Instagram right here. You got my TikTok. Don't really use Twitter. Or you can add me on Discord. I'm about to make a server and shit like that so people can send me clips and shit like that. But everybody stay positive and do not eat ass.